When is the best time to play Chivalry? At night. Hello, welcome to the Chivalry 2 Mechanics Guide. My name is SlimeUwU. I am a doctor of chivalry. I am here to help you today to get better at Chivalry 2. I have made this gigantic video for your personal viewing pleasure. It has hopefully every single possible mechanic in Chivalry 2. If I left out any, please leave a dank meme down here insulting me below. I will also have timestamps for everything, so check those out in the comments section, in the description, wherever you feel is best for you. I will have up here links to my class guides, so check those out as well. So make sure you subscribe so that you know all the cool, latest, dankest memes in Chivalry 2. I will post as often as I can. I love you all. Please help me make the Chivalry 2 community better by teaching people and telling them about this video, and we will be better at Chivalry 2 together. So let's go, yay! Alright, let's get started here with some slashy boys, and here you go. Alright, so now that we're in the actual Chivalry 2 video and there's only about 35% memes left, let's get a little bit more serious here. I'm going to be showing you here the Chivalry 2 mechanics. I'm going to do an overview in the beginning, and I'm going to build upon that and get more into examples and various visuals and stuff over time. We start off with the slash, which is simple mouse button of leftness, and if you hold that down you get a heavy version which does more damage. If you put mouse wheel forward you will get a pokey. If you pull it back you'll get an overhead, and whenever you tap it twice you'll get a combo, which is amazing, and you can chain all of these things together in whatever order you choose. For example, here's a slash into an overhead heavy. And if you hold down the Alt key you can swing from the opposite direction that you would normally do instead. Every choice of sharp pointy stick gets its own custom, unique, special ability that you do on Q. You also get on some classes another ability on F or some other key that I don't remember that you can do. If you look in the middle of the screen there, you see those white chevrons or little triangles. They charge up, and then you're sprinting, you have two of them, and then you just push the button and it activates. Whoa, extreme. You can also get a special ability where you can do things like summoning meat back into your body by pushing 4. Sometimes it's charged by, smacking people in the head and landing special abilities, or just, having people touch you. Like that works too sometimes. Next up, we have speedy speeds and unspeedy speeds, called acceleration or something, I don't know. And what you do is you turn into things or turn away from things, and it makes your thing that you're swinging at people go faster or slower. And you can also position your feet in such a way that it, does that too. Whoa! Luckily, Torn Banner has put in a limiter on your power level so that you can no longer spin around like a crazy Genji ballerina. So you can, you can't really do it, okay? Okie dokie, next up we have the Riposte. So here I'm going to show you, you can do quite a lot of work without using Riposte, and there's different scenarios where you would want to use it and not want to use it. But this is just an example of like how defensive you can be without using Riposte for the most part. And while it is a tool in your kit, you want to make sure that you're not overusing it, because a lot of people will just Riposte immediately every single time, and that is not the point of Riposte. Now what Riposte does is it allows you to swing and block at the same time, but it will use stamina up as if you were regularly blocking. And you have to time the swing with the other people's swings so that we'll be able to block and be there, just as if you were tracking a tip like normal. You trigger it by first blocking, and as soon as someone makes an impact on you, you'll then be able to swing and trigger Riposte. You can Riposte with any sort of swing, it doesn't matter which one you use, and you don't have to use it right away. You can not use it, you can hold on to it for a little bit, you just have that little window after you Riposte that you can block. And so anything that isn't perfectly blocked by you tracking the swing correctly will just cause this to be a regular swing as you had just pushed the button and swung normally. So you can see this is the same truth as with counter here. If it doesn't meet the conditions for it, it just becomes a regular swing. See, I'm just blocking, then swing. Block, and then swing. It becomes a Riposte. They can block it too, they can also counter it. Same thing applies. And if you want, you can rewind this little section here so you can see the stamina is being drained as things get blocked by Riposte. Next thing you can do is block. Block is the ability for you to hold the amazing right mouse button down and you will block. It will drain your stamina. So whoa, that'll go down. It won't go back up. Now, if you're scared about Kashinji, this is what you will use most of the time. You'll just be holding the button down. People can go up to you and kick your face in, and then they'll get a free smackaruno on your face-areno. The only other thing you can do other than riposte and shielding is the good old counter. The wonderful game of counter, the terrifying game where you try and guess the swing of your opponent and match it up so that yours will penetrate theirs, and you will not only simultaneously smack them in the face, but you will also block theirs entirely. And if you guess wrong, you're going to get smacked in your face. And not only that, it won't block anybody else's, it will only block that one specific type you chose. But why would anyone use this, you ask? Well, let me tell you. So say 35 Genjis come at you and they all do a slash at you and you do a counter slash, you can just be like and slap everyone's face and it doesn't cost you one single point of stamina. And so you do counter by holding your right mouse button down and doing a swing before their swing has started, and you take a guess, or you swing just after they've started and you match it up with their swing. It has to be the same exact type, and as long as it is, you'll be able to meet them at the same point where they're going to meet you with their swing, and then your swing will override their swing, smacking them while also blocking and not causing you to lose stamina. And landing your counters gets more and more difficult the more difference and variation there is between their choice of stick and your stick. And also if they start doing feints, wiggling around, just doing whatever, it becomes near impossible to try and guess what they're going to do. And just doing it in third person is even worse, and you can use first person to see a little bit better, but it's not going to be very viable, especially with all these people and all these things. You have to somehow simultaneously track and do all of this stuff within 200 milliseconds maybe, or less. Or you could just get out of the way, or hold down block, or riposte, or swing. You could swing. And worst case scenario, you could even duck. All choices without guessing. But when it is done, it is pretty effective. Well, it doesn't work on shield users that you saw like at the beginning where you can't out-stamina them because you're not draining their stamina in the first place. This guy's getting stamina drained quite a lot by various people, and I have full stamina from doing the counters on him. He's been disarmed twice and he's done. And just with everything else pretty much, as soon as like these little immunity windows and whatnot are done and I swing through it and he doesn't actually block it or anything, he just tries to kick me, it just becomes a regular swing and it bops his face. And at the end of the day, you can do all the fancy tricks in the world, but it doesn't really matter. All that matters is your timing, your positioning, and that yours is better than theirs. Because it doesn't matter if you pulled off some cool thing if some guy out of your range just poked you. Like, he just pushed a button and he wins. Like, look at all these people. They're completely oblivious to me and they're just running on past me. They could easily take me out, but now I've taken, I think, 2, 4, 5, 6. I think that's 6 guy. Now I got some people that weren't on the screen before. Because they're just one by one, but like look how easily you can get taken down by a bunch of people if they group up, and there's really not much you can do, especially if in first person you can't see all those things like coming at you from all these really weird angles and stuff. So make sure you're not tunnel visioning and pay attention to everything that's going to happen to you, and try and move so that you know exactly what's going to happen several steps before it happens, so that you can put yourself in a place that is not going to be negative towards you. So, you know, being the person who's hyper aggressive all the time isn't going to help you. Being the person who's super defensive all the time isn't going to help you. You have to learn your positioning, because if your positioning is better and you can just pull off some sort of maneuver or like use of environment or a way that puts you in a place where other people just, you know, they simply physically can't get to you, then you win. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to outplay people. You don't have to be like this thing that's perfect every single time. You can just back away, like know when to step in and when to step out. That's probably one of the most important things is once you're tunnel visioning and realize how badly you're tunnel visioning, you'll start to see all these new openings for you that could have been made versus making all of these guesses that are just really bad when you could have just, walked away and positioned yourself a little bit better, and you could have done something way better than trying to pull off some weird, heavy, super hard blue, sweaty trick, because you know what, it's just not going to work because there's so many different things that are against you mechanically that it's just not going to pay off most of the time. So if you could take a 50-50 here, why take it when you could just back up and take an 80? Like, that means you're only going to lose 20% of the time, but all you have to do is back up. Like, at the end of the day, who's on who's on the winning team and who's on the stupid Twitch feed or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, just do what's best in the moment. So like here's a really good clip that's a perfect example of where everyone's positioning is bad, their awareness is bad, they're tunnel visioning on what they're doing rather than listening to all the sounds and things and all the horrible people meeting their doom right next to them. And I'm not doing anything like super crazy. There's no sick play here going on. It's just me pushing the button over and over and over, and everyone is just ignoring everything that's happening in their surroundings. And look how badly they were punished for it. Okay, now that boring stuff is out of the way, we have next up jab with R and kick with F. Pro gamer moves. Okay, so I lost the footage for this part, so bear with me. I'm gonna say I lost it. I didn't record it. Yeah. So when you use a jab, you want to use it to restore initiative. So you're engaged with someone here and they bop you. You want to take that impact, and then you have to jab them, get out of the way with dodge or block it or something, because you cannot swing in most circumstances faster than they can. So that's what you have to do. It's an initiative break, or you can kind of use it to mix up things and make it a little bit more unpredictable. But for the most part, you're going to be using it to restore that equal footing so that you're both swinging at the same speed again. And he doesn't have that speed on you because he landed a successful impact. So that's what you use it for. I lost the audio for this, so I don't really remember what I was even talking about here. I assume it's something to do with feet or foot. No, what? A kick. It has something to do with kick. Chivalry kick. So, what is this? Oh, it's a fort. Okay, it's a fort. Yeah, right. Okay. The shields. Okay, when you have kick, whenever you use guard and you're holding on right mouse button, whether you have a shield or not, if someone comes up to you and kicks you, it will interrupt you, and there will be nothing you can do. It's a hard interrupt. There's nothing you can do, and you don't want that to happen to you ever. It's the same thing as running completely out of stamina when you get kicked like that. So you use the kick to break the block, and that's really all it is. It's nothing special. You just use it, and if you miss, or if they're not blocking, you just do immediately like 3 damage, and then you have a really bad time and they smoosh your face. Luckily, I seem to have drawn a very good artist depiction of the event of you kicking somebody else in the face and their immense doom. Next up, defensive-wise, is dash. You can use dash by pushing a directional key and then spacebar. It's kind of at the same time, more or less. I don't remember, something like that. And you can dash. You can't dash forward. You can dash other ways, but just not forward. It's really good to getting around things, getting over to things, getting out of the way of things. You can just anti-thing pretty much constantly. You can do a lot of cool different little things to mix it up and be unpredictable and be like, whoa, I'm so fast. Cool. Make some space. Don't make some space. Unspace yourself. Unspace them. Confuse them. Fall off a balcony. You can do whatever you want. Just go crazy. Go nuts. Think you're at Chuck E. Cheese and just let loose. You can also do what's known as a pro gamer move called ducking. That's also possible. Right, so anytime you want to do the fancy ballerina stuff, you gotta do that before you swing, because when you swing, it locks in your animation, you can't do anything, so you can't do that. Look, it's just gotta get all that wiggling out before you actually activate the swing. It won't work with you not doing what I tell you, so if you don't listen, then it's not my fault when you look stupid. And you'll be like, no, and they'll be like, didn't you watch the video? And you'll be like, I closed that video, it's dumb. Now, we're going to show you some accelerations and how those work, and just see how it goes. Whoa. So, just use this information if it helps in any way whatsoever. I'm just going to show you a bunch of animations, slow them down, and then repeat them, and with the point when it does damage, okay? What I'm trying to get across here is that there's clearly a difference between the different ones, you know. It might be more of a difference if you're using like a one-hander versus two-handers, or if you're using a particular longer pointy stick versus a short stick, or, you know, a more metally one, I don't know. You know, the point is that there's clearly a difference, and I figured this is probably a good base model. Maybe it was one of the ones that they considered their basic part here, so I figured that was probably a good choice to use. But you can see that there's clearly a difference between that, and it's probably more and more pronounced, and they'll probably adjust that, so I can't really help you with that. I'm just able to show you that it does exist, and that you need to understand how you can manipulate it, and per patch changes and stuff on which one's going to be better, because you're not going to want to look at the stats and stuff, because a lot of the time when you play video games, those stat pages don't really get updated very often, because, you know, that's really hard. Like, somebody has to sit there and draw all that stuff, and no. Just like look at it, use it, try it, and you can see for yourself which ways things work. So here I'm going to show you Slash first. Slash is got a kind of a charge to it, so it's usually not like a right away thing. It kind of swings, so it's very telegraphed. You can kind of obviously see when someone's swinging at you, but with that you can kind of swing wherever. You can just knock some nuggets out of someone no matter where you catch them, but it's really good at catching them. So not only is it good for offense, it's really good for defense as well. It can create a lot of space around you, because there's just so much swinging around you that it's really difficult to get near you. It can people behind your back. You can do whatever with it. Like here, these guys are trying to get me, and I can just kind of engage them all at once, dodge around. I can get this guy. I'm still fairly safe from these guys coming in, but they have to go in between the swings, just like I had to go in between his spam swings to get him. Be careful you don't get locked in with some nerds like this who are trying to repost and counter you, because this is the most likely to be countered thing. So you have to make sure you're positioning yourself or getting a kick out or something, so you can break that repost lock that you have with other people. Another thing here is to notice is that Slash has a much more predictable thing, so people can kind of go around it. So it's not great for 1v1s, especially if you have like a smaller one and somebody has a bigger one and they try and slash you. Can out slash them with your small one. And you can see here another huge problem that Slash has is that you can just get it stuck on random things that interrupt you, or people can block it in that huge arc, and then it ruins you. Here I kicked him and I could have got him, but I didn't. But he tries to slash and I also slash. My slash out slashes his slash, and so I'm the slash champion and he's a loser. Okay, but next up is Poke Time. Poke Time is my favorite thing to say. I like to say Poke Time. Poke Time is where you poke at people and you have a fun time. Poke Time is very good at penetrating multiple things. You can use it very precisely. It is one of the hardest things to read because it has very little hand movement. You can go around people, around your teammates, around enemies, through people, through space and time to stop levels from destroying the future. And what you try and do is you drag it around and through a lot of people, but its weakness is that you can't really cover a lot of area because it's kind of locked into this kind of really tight cone, and no matter what you do, no matter how you're just like, oh, you can't make it like go beyond that. So you really have to like take into consideration your particular positioning of your feet and such, so that you can kind of pre-think of where you want to swing it into and have it go there, rather than trying to like drag it like you would with slash, because it's not slash, you know, it's not even part of that band. So what you want to really do with this is you want to use it with like combos, different kind of fancy things, and just kind of really mix it up with this, because it has the ability not to be read very well, and it just becomes extremely unpredictable. It has quite a long reach, so it's really good at doing that. If you can kind of get space in between people, you have the time to poke them, but for the most part it's not really great at engaging multiple people. You probably want to use one of the other abilities, just kind of like this one, to like kind of block people in a narrow pathway, or kind of get at one particular person. It's really good at duels and stuff. So any sort of dueling scenario would be really great. And despite the fact that I was trying to go really fast, but it wasn't fast enough, and now we're already late, and this is actually overheads. We're already having overheads. Overheads are really good because they're very similar and hard to read, and they look a lot like Poke Times. Oh god, I'm just going to take it even slower. We're gonna go faster, gotta go faster. Okay, we're just gonna refer to it as O now. Oh, whenever you O, you wanna go oh, and then you go oh, and then you like you have like a really narrow area of turning ability. So it's really similar to Poke Times, but with O, it's probably the style that you're gonna be using for a lot of different sticks, because if you're like Courage the Cowardly Dog Grandpa and you're like smashing somebody with your big old mallet, you go. You're probably just gonna use the O over all the time, because if you're trying to use Poke Times, usually Poke Times, but with those is dumb, because it's, you know, it's flat as a hammer. It's like it's like poking somebody with like a can of refried beans. It's not gonna do any. It's not gonna do anything. Okay, but like one of the major drawbacks of this is that when you swing it down, especially if you're trying to accelerate it and stuff, it becomes really short, and you might not realize how short your particular angry stick is. So keep that in mind, especially if you're using third person. You might not realize that your stupid stick is getting like super duper short. But the cool thing is that you can spin around a lot of the time, and since it's really hard to read, especially if other people are in third person, they won't be able to see that you're swinging, and they can like swing around in the back and just be like, "Hoo!" I mean, as long as you're not super duper far away, it's not extremely telegraphed, but you can just be like, "Oh, I'm sleeping," and it works.
Yeah, like, look at these overhead combos. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? It's filling the space in between. He can't do anything. He's just like, ah!
And then after you bash everyone out, you just stand at the end of the bridge and you just hold your big old sword out, and you're just like, Dost, even Hoist. Okay, so defense. There's blocking. This is blocking. You hold the button down. It's not effective. Thank you. Please subscribe. Okay, for realsies though, like whenever you use your hold and you take an impact, it'll drain your stamina. You see in the bottom left hand side there, that's the yellow bar. It goes down every impact. You will eventually get disarmed and switch to your secondary. If you hold it down, it drains. If you use a shield, it's a little bit different. Instead of it draining when you take an impact, it will drain whenever you're holding it down, but when someone impacts the shield, it will damage the shield. And eventually it will break the shield, and they will fall on the ground, and then you will be back to your secondary. Whoa! So you get up in people's faces, you block it. People can go around the shield, they can get you from behind the shield, but it is pretty effective in holding off crowds. I recommend tapping it, but you know, you do you, dog. Good guys, bad guys, and conniggins of Agathian masonry. Doo doo boop 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 boop. So like you can block like specials like that, but you don't really want to, because as you can see, they drain your stamina really bad. You want to try and dodge those if you can, but you can block them. We can block tackles and other things like that as well, but you know, it's bad. But what you're trying to do here is you're trying to block that little particular point of the swinging, scary, spooky stick. You just want to catch the tip, just the tip, just that very tip of the thing. And if you don't, then you'll probably miss. Also, just don't forget that when you block, you have that brief moment when you can't do anything, and if you try and block and then do something else, you'll then start a counter. So to make sure you don't do that. Also, you can't not block arrows, so just get out of the way, hide from them, don't position yourself in a dumb way. If the archers are getting you, you've made a mistake. Your positioning is dumb, and you are block a lot of projectiles, like things that are thrown at you. You know, you can block ballistas. I think if you damage your entire tower shield, then you'll run out of all of your stamina. You can block fishes, orangutans, crocodiles, things like that. All of them, you can all block them. It's good. Keep in mind, this is just to show you how to properly aim your face and such so that you can block these things. You're not wanting to really get stamina drained like this. This is like last-ditch effort that you couldn't get a good position that this would happen. If you do get stamina drained or you get kicked, you'll see that red icon in the middle of your screen. It's a broken shield. You can't do anything during that duration of time. You're just kind of stuck there as a crying little sad baby because you messed up, or you were in a super long engagement and they finally wore you down. But if that happens, there's nothing you can do. You kiss your face goodbye. And while it is very forgiving with shields and blocking and whatnot, that it does not have to be so precise. You really want to get into the habit of blocking the tip, because the tip is the very important part, and if you don't block the tip, you are going to get in bad habits, and when you are making fast decisions, you're going to make them much more sloppier than you would do normally, and you would make a mistake. Next up is the most important thing to learn, Riposte. Riposte is really simple, but it is very often overlooked and most people don't understand what's going on. It's really simple though. All you have to do is hold block, wait for something to impact you, and then swing. Simple. So here I go, block it, swing. Otherwise you just get a normal swing. If you swing before it impacts, you start doing a counter. So you have to wait for the impact, swing. Normal swing. Swing too early, I ended with normal swing. So, impact, swing. Now the really cool thing about Riposte is that it is also a super defensive ability. When you swing it, it will give you a grace period in front of you that will block everything that's incoming onto your face. So it'll block and it'll also swing out. And if it's not working, you're probably doing something wrong. Let me show you here. The first example is this. Example 1, you're an eager beaver and you are swinging too early, triggering a counter which will only block if you are matching up with the other person's swing. Otherwise, you get bashed in the face. Second example could be that you are not timing it correctly with the other person's swing, so it's not there in time to block. You can't just, wave your hand and it's like a magical halo shield that just is like and like protects you. It's got to actually somewhat sync up to the animation of the other person in order to physically exist in reality to block. So here we go. Block, riposte, interrupted because he got me. Riposte successfully because they matched up. Post, and a regular swing. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that people are trash at video games. They will miss constantly. So if you're relying on them to land that and they don't, then you're going to put yourself in a position that's going to be very, very detrimental to you being successful. And you can't expect them to uphold their level of skill that you need them to play at. Another huge pitfall for this is to make sure that you're actually tracking what's going on. If you're not and you're just going with the flow and just trying to match the timing of the swings without actually processing and thinking about what's going on actively, then you're going to really find yourself when things get more complicated and someone starts throwing out more mechanic things at you with feints and whatnot and swings and alternating timings, that you're just going on that old timing rather than actually what you're supposed to be doing in that particular moment, and you're going to mistime things inappropriately, and it's really going to ruin things. You should always be trying to protect yourself so that you don't get smacked in your face. You should always try and position it so that they can get interrupted if you can, and if you cannot, you just can get out of the way. What most people don't realize is that you don't have to riposte after you block. If you're like, oh, I can riposte, like, you don't have to. You can just block, you can walk away, you can do anything else. You just don't have to do that. And there's going to be quite a lot of people that will always do that. And that's really predictable. Like, you can just mix it up. You don't have to deal with that. You can just do whatever. You don't have to repose. And just to help grind that into your brain even further, look at this. Look at this. Often riposting immediately is usually the worst, most best guaranteed way for you to have a very sad day. It just doesn't work. Just position yourself better. Like, look, you can see these guys coming in. I can grab both of them since they're going at the same time. I can grab this guy. He hasn't moved at all, so I can go grab him. Like, there's no reason to do that. Like, don't be afraid. Don't let other people intimidate you. Actually watch what's going on and respond appropriately. Here, I riposte. By blocking, holding it, riposte with a heavy. Riposte. Backing away to the left, catch these guys, get them in my field of vision, riposte. Here I start panicking and I counter because I'm not waiting for it to go, instead of just being patient. I'm effectively now just guessing. I parchment in your general direction, Agathian pig dog. Go foil yourself, you don't frighten me. I riposte myself at thee, yon one-armed silly person capable of wiping other people's bottoms. Prepare to greet the heat at my feet, you sleepy lion cat dog. Okay, now let's use some actual real people. So I block that. Block this, riposte, I can get those guys because he's already into the thing and I can get him in slow. Watch out for this guy. I turn around so I can get them both in view. Now I can see that they're going there, so I go for the blocks. Now I'm starting to get surrounded, so I try and back up to get that guy back in my sight. So I don't want that to happen. Now I'm getting surrounded, so it's really not good. This is the worst time that you're going to get. I could get that guy, but I try and go for this one. That way I'm safe because I'm not turning my back towards those people anymore. This guy's coming in with a special, so I could have dodged, but I didn't because those guys were making it very unsafe. Now I'm in a much more favorable position where I'm able to see what's going on, and I don't have to worry about them coming from the sides or anything. So I'm trading back and forth with this guy with the posts. I go around his shield, and my riposte is faster than his normal swing. Here's a crazy guy. He goes into his swing, he checks behind him really quickly, and that causes me to smoosh him. So now we're trying to position between him so we can sandwich him so he can't block both of us at the same time. He's trying to sneak back out of it. I'm trying to keep him really distracted on me so that he keeps forcing having to look this way as this guy behind him crawls away, or to maybe get him in the back twice and then pick himself up, but he doesn't for some reason. I get kicked here, so that gets a freebie on me. And then here I'm just trying to show you I'm psyching him out and he's getting scared. I could have kicked him any of these times, but I'm just kind of naming him for the video. Right, before we get into counter, I'm going to do a quick review here. I'm going to gamer all over this guy, so just pay attention here and I'll show you clearly what each one is doing. So I'm going to do a block, and very quickly you'll see why counter is so important. So we'll get here the riposte. Now we'll go into a counter, into another counter, into another counter, and you can see that he gets disarmed here, and he loses his thing entirely while I'm at full stamina. And that is exactly what makes counter so strong. It does not drain your stamina if you match it up. Now if you want to do your dank counters on people, all you have to do is hold down right mouse button and then swing away at them, and your swing will become a counter. You will not be able to block any of the other swing types, only the one you chose. So if somebody swings at you with multiple different types in a group, then all of them will smack your face other than the one you particularly blocked. But if you do manage to block those same types, yours will go through theirs and they will smack them in the face, and theirs will stop immediately and they will not penetrate at all, and they will also lose stamina while you will get to keep your stamina. Counters are one of the more difficult things to do in the game because you have a very small window to tell when you're supposed to do the right appropriate thing. It becomes easier in first person than third person because you have more ability to read the opponent, especially when they're doing all these fancy gamer moves and stuff, but you lose the perception of your peripherals around you because you're in first person, but you don't have to suffer in third person where your thick night thighs are in the way. It becomes easier and easier the more you do it. It is a thing that you can practice on the bots a lot, that they will get up into your face and they'll put you in that position constantly where you have to really quickly try and read it. So it's pretty good practice actually to go against the bots. But again, it's just something that you're going to probably have to practice a lot and just also get all that like panicking jitteriness out of your self, because a lot of times you'll just be intimidated and panic at the swing, and you have to teach yourself not to react like that. Back when I was a little kid, we would play a game similar to this where we would try and make each other flinch, and whoever flinched would get bopped in the face. Similar here, but you know, less painful because it's not happening to you in real life, unless you want it to. But even then, I wouldn't even recommend it, because what if you liked it? And then that would take away time from you playing Chivalry 2. At the end of the day, counter is really extremely high risk, high reward. And why would you take high risk all the time? I mean, it's not going to be great reward, you know? It's not going to like magically drain his stamina all the way and he's going to be like, oh no, you got me. Like, it's much easier just to like feint him out or something that's less, you know, risky and still fairly high reward and just be better off. Like, well, there's no reason to, you know, just endlessly trying this at crowds of people just in the hope that you'll look cool, you know, for the Twitch feed or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, just win. Just win. Take the better chance most of the time. You know, it's the same thing in anything in life, really. Like, you could right now run out into the street covered in meat and just try and attract as many dogs as you want. And maybe you'll make a bunch of dog friends. Maybe they'll just come and, like, bite you. Who knows? You don't know. It's high risk, high reward. Can you do it? Sure. And maybe you'll make tons of dog friends and they'll all frolic with you and you'll have fun times and adventures and you'll just, you know, go around town and be like the dog boy from that point on. And that'll be you. That'll be your identity from now on. Or maybe you'll just get bit in the nards by a bunch of angry doggos. Maybe that's what'll happen. We don't know. We don't know until we try it, and we don't know if we don't make that mistake. So that's up to you. That's up to you whether you want to make that mistake or not, okay? I'm not here to parent you. I'm not here to teach you. Well, wait. I'm here to teach you, and I'm teaching you the lesson of think before you meet, okay? Next up is feints, which is what my mom does every single time I talk about what I've done in my life so far. So feints are where you bamboozle your opponent by doing a bunch of different random things and you switch it up as much as possible, and at the last second you can do it and mix it so that you can change the timings on your various other swings. But that's pretty much what it is. It's just there to bamboozle them, trick them, and make them do the wrong thing so that you can punish them. So if you mix in a lot of feints, riposte, counters, dashes, movements, just regularly doing nothing and just making someone get nervous and change their timing, they won't be able to track you very well and it will work in your favor. So here I am engaging with this guy. He's allowing me to duel him because this will be fun for both of us. We're doing counters, so he's building up a routine in his mind, and then I fake a feint into a counter and get him. Alright, let's do a little quick overview of this. So we got your regular feint where you just start it off with one swing and then you go into another swing by pushing it immediately. You have to do it really quickly or else it doesn't work. You can do this with anything. You can do a pokey, you can do a kick, you can do a jab. You can also do a heavy, so you have to do the same amount of rotation time so that you do a swing, where you have to do swing into heavy, swing, and it has to fit in that the same time slot. And you have to do it really quick, otherwise you'll just end up with a normal swing. And if you really want to confuse people, just mix it up with the alt swings, and you can do heavy swings into alt swings into alt switching swings with combos and everything else, and people won't know what to do. Just go crazy. Whoa. Okay, let's get some of that thick spicy boys. Okay, so we're gonna pretend to get this guy. Oh well, we're gonna get that guy. Okay, we're gonna pretend to go that guy and then do the same thing but fake him out and then go around his back. And now we're gonna do a fake on him and then poke him. If your teammates are always getting in the way because they're dumb and annoying, well, you can use feints to your advantage to go around them so you don't smack them all the time and give them the back business. So you can do this with enemies as well, where you position yourself in better ways so their things don't smack you in the face. It works both ways, to be honest. Feints are when you pull out your big old dingo-donger and you wave it at people and you say, "Hey, you want me to bop you? I'll bop you." And you try and intimidate them in every single possible way so that they get scared and mess up. So you have to be super hyper aggressive with it, and you position yourself in better ways that they just can't understand you. You try and make them look all around in every single direction so they don't know what to do, so that they mess up and they get scared and they have a bad time, and then you punish them for it. So the more you can mix it up, the better. And on top of that, you can use feints for not only offensive ways, but you can use them defensively so that you can force other people into bad places, bad positioning. You can scare them into falling off things. You can position yourself into a way that forces them to have to go into a terrible place just to get at you. Whatever works. Hey, get up in there. Bop! Yeah, well, stop peeking that door. Hey, no, get out of the way. Go. No, I'm busy. Oh, yes, I got him. Yes. Alright, in this next clip I'm going to be trying to forecast what's going on here in real time. So I go for a poke, he blocks it, I feint, I go into riposte into a feint, he interrupts with a single slash, I counter, I go into riposte, I get him up with the downwards, I feint into a poke, he blocks it, I go into a heavy, he dodges it, he throws a slash, I poke, he blocks it, riposte into a feint, and he blocks it with the slash. Counter, I feint, it doesn't work, I slash, he counters with the kick, I go into it and smashes him, riposte into a feint and catch him, he counters it, riposte into a poke, I counter, he counters my counter and I riposte and I get him. Okay, with these guys I pre-charge heavy because they're not looking, I get all of them. I feint this guy, go to overhead, I try and come across, they countered it, but block it, I go into a pokey, get this guy, I try and swing at him, I try and combo this guy, it doesn't work, I throw, I can get him for a 50, I go a slash, I get that guy, I try and do a pokey, it works, I hear noises, I swing behind me preemptively, I try and get this guy to protect the archer, I try and go through feinting to him and around this thing, it doesn't work, I do the slash because it's faster, I pre-charge the slash here on this guy, I grab him, I feint into an overhead, and then I come across with him and I get him. Right, I go for an overhead through the peasant, I get him, I try for a slash, he counters it, I riposte into a poke, he blocks it, I try and go for a super long poke, I get him, I do that, I go heavy into this guy's face, get him, I try for the cheeky throw, it doesn't work, I pre-charge a heavy into this guy, he blocks it, I block him, I riposte into a poke, I block this with a counter, I block and I try and back up and using my block, and then I counter into all of them, I do a simple slash, I get interrupted, I do a counter through all of them but nobody's blocking, this guy blocks twice, and I go into a pokey. And lastly we have dash, and dash is a defensive ability where you kind of do a little skip jump away from people. You can use it to put yourself in more advantageous positions that are more offensive. You can use it defensively to get out of the way. You can't go forward, but you can go in any of the other directions. So what you do is you tap your spacebar and push a direction, and then you will do a little skip jump in that direction. You can rebind it to your mouse or something, which is usually what I like to do because I like to have a little dedicated key to also do that. You don't have to do that, but it's just an option. What you have to keep in mind though is that when you are blocking, you're not able to block. When you do a dash, there's like a quarter of a second window after you dash where you can't do a block. So make sure you put yourself out of the way or you'll get weighed and find out that you don't weigh enough and your heart is something underworld Nubis is not happy. So yeah, there you go. Okay. Another thing that comes into play is that each class has its own ability to use dash, different cooldown timers. So some classes like the knight are heavier, so their cool dash timer is longer, where other classes like the man-at-arms has a 50% I think right now reduced. So we can use his dash a lot more often than other classes. So keep that in mind when you're trying to do stuff on which particular class you're using, because it makes a major difference in the rolls and the positioning and how often you can use it without getting extremely punished. Oh my god, I've been narrating this so much, I can't take it anymore. Okay, so, alright, so like, yeah, and then a pokey, and then I dodge to the side to get out of that, and then I backwards walk out of that noise behind me, and then I kind of get away from them so I can see a little bit better with my backwards dash. I block that guy, I drag into him, I come around, and then I dodge backwards because I thought he was going to poke me, but also that guy was going to poke me, but I missed time. Next up is jab. Jab interrupts people when they swing. Kick interrupts people when they block or they have the shield block out, and you kick them. That's it, really. You can interrupt somebody on their swing and you can get back initiative, so now you're back at equal footing where nobody's swinging faster than the other at the other person. That's all it's really used for. You can interrupt combos as well, but it's really risky and your range is super short, so most of the time you don't want to do it, but you can kind of do it here and then if you can get good at it and practice it, but it's really hard to do, honestly. And while it is really fast, you can pretty much negate it with a lot of different things by just, you know, slightly moving away. Or just blocking, which, you know, most people will just block and it just like wastes your time and then they smoosh you in the face. So I don't really know how helpful it is at this point. You know, maybe later in the meta when it's more developed and people are specifically doing things, maybe, but I think right now most people just block and you get countered hard by block, so it's kind of a meme. You can kind of, with another person, you can kind of chain combo it really quickly, and then it makes the other person's life very difficult, but other than that, I don't really know what we're kind of really using it for at the moment. It's just so short. It's silly, and just the third person use it. It's so difficult. Like in first person, it's easier, but in third person, it's like you could have been doing some other swing or something, or like it's like trying to like smack someone with your little tiny baby T-Rex arms, and you just miss like 80% of the time. And so I guess like what you could use them to do in like an actual meta is, or say somebody's doing like really complicated feints and stuff at you and you're not sure like how you're gonna read that specifically, you could jab them and that would stop their combo in the face as soon as they try and go through the swing, so you don't have to match up with like a perfect counter or whatever. You just have to make sure that you started your jab after they started their animation so it interrupts them. So I can see that's probably where it's going to be the most useful, but that's probably only going to work against a better player. Most people are just going to block at you and you're just going to be doing a like 50-50 chance on them, and that you're going to block. And it's just silly. Okie dokie, so in conclusion here, I think I've already talked quite a lot, so I'm gonna kind of be quiet now. I'm gonna let you guys watch the video. I'm gonna go kind of more into realistic playing rather than, you know, doing the tutorial stuff, trying to show you the specific like one mechanic, and I'm gonna actually play where I'm showing all the different things at once. These are some older footages from the beta, so I'm not quite as good in all of these clips as I would be now. So this is more from when I was learning, but I figured it would be a good idea to include this stuff. So even though I was playing some of these clips like maybe way back when I was like level 5 or 10 or 20 or something, like that would be a good learning point for you, so you can see these mistakes, and now hopefully if I haven't been a very bad teacher, that you can learn from the mistakes I'm doing. You can actually figure out what's going on, why I'm making the mistake I'm making, and then how I should have done something else differently, what you would have done differently in this scenario, and that way you would have succeeded where I failed here, and that way you're hopefully a much better player instead of being bad like me. So hopefully this really helps you. I had fun making this. It was quite an ordeal. It took me like a week or two just to like edit everything, and like half a week or something just to redo the voiceover and stuff. I did it probably like 4 or 5 times over where I revoiced it and just did the whole thing. So yeah, there you go. If you don't see me posting in a while, it's usually I'm either working on a big video like this, or maybe I ended due to strange brain diseases or stuff, because like I'm struggling with things and it's awful, and like my hormones are really messed up right now. Right now I have the hormones like a 90-year-old lady, so it's like really exhausting for me to do all this stuff. But I know that I care about you guys. I'm trying to help you as best as I can, and you know, hopefully I can get some of this stuff fixed soon. Hopefully all these terrible things I'm feeling in my brain and everything else are just like part of that, but I don't know. So I'm just letting you know, if I drop off the planet, that's probably why, but maybe I'm probably fine, whatever. So, there you go. If you have any questions or whatever, I'll try and answer them while I'm still alive. And so there you go. Thank you for watching this horrible ordeal of a video, and have a good day, guys. There's probably a couple more minutes here to go So thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for subbing. I actually got past 420 subs up to this day, I guess. So yeah, there you go. Like, so you can see how I talk. I talk like really badly. So so it's no, look, the video's over and I'm still talking. Like, see, this is what I'm telling you. Like, it's very difficult for me to do anything because it's an ordeal for me, okay? And can you imagine how many times I recorded? Like, I said 5 times, but I probably recorded each single time like 20 times over, okay? Okay, anyways, I love you guys. Okay, bye. Congratulations, you found the secret video. First, grab this chicken. I'm gonna show you how to really use jab. Wait, grab that chicken. Okay, bring it to a source of flame. I have a flaming chicken. Take this with you into engagements. Jab people. It will set them aflame. You can now set people on fire. You cannot unfortunately pick people up, so you have to set the chicken down. But don't worry, if you do set the chicken down to do something, it'll be just fine. It'll sit there and wait for you to pick it back up. This is great for making people unable to see you, and you can just bash their face in. It also does damage over time. It's great. And here, you can see this chicken waited here tastefully for me, and now I can take it with me, even though I left it here for a good, I don't know, 2 minutes or something. It's still here. And it's just ready, all crispy, and ready for some chivalry action. Dog. Ball. Dog. Ball. Dog. Ball. Ball. Congrats.